Welcome. This is my 28th speech for the Ron Paul curriculum, and I'm going to be giving this speech on this is my last speech I'm going to be giving, and I have a live audience. This speech I'm going to be giving on what I have learned from Liberty Classroom. Liberty Classroom is a site that teaches mostly constitutional history. Schools don't teach what Liberty Classroom teaches, and the internet, like Google, tends to hide the truth. What I have learned from Liberty Classroom is how the Constitution works, what the government is supposed to do, and who is considered bad by constitutional yardstick. What is the Constitution? The Constitution was created in 1789 and was written mostly by James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and John Jay. It was created for the purpose to protect and defend our rights and property as citizens of the United States. What is the government supposed to do? The government is supposed to uphold his oath of office and help protect our rights. He is very limited with his power, and actually the states are more powerful than he is. The question, why do we have a government then if the states are more powerful, may arise. And this is the answer to that. We need someone who not only protects our rights, but can help make our society better constitutionally. Alexander Hamilton was never a president, but he did help write the Constitution, so he knew how it worked. When George Washington was in his second term, Hamilton would tell Washington what to do, and Washington would listen because he thought of him as his own son. Hamilton twisted the words of the Constitution and made Washington believe that this was okay and constitutional. Just 4 years after the Constitution was created, it was ripped to pieces. With Hamilton knowing how it worked, that gave him the advantage to manipulate people and twist the words of it. We live in Hamilton's America. He never wanted limitations on the government. He wanted a monarchy, but he didn't want to be the one known as who did it, so he got Washington to do it instead, and that led to people see that this is how the government is supposed to work. There have been times that I will ask someone who their favorite president is, and oftentimes they'll answer with Teddy Roosevelt or Abraham Lincoln. By constitutional yardstick, these are two of the worst presidents in American history. They were in fact very popular, and they spoke very well. But it is not only what they say, it is what they do, what bills they pass, and what laws they enact. Teddy Roosevelt, for example, enacted the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906. It prohibited the sale of misbranded or adulterated food and drugs in interstate commerce, and it laid a foundation for the nation's first consumer protection agency. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, was unconstitutional. He should have gone to the states and suggested that this be done instead of infringing on the state's freedom. We do not want a president that just does what he wants with or without the Congress and the Supreme Court's approval. When I get asked who my favorite president was, I answer with John Tyler. He was in office just under 1 term. He decided to resign a couple months before. He went to the Congress for everything, and he knew exactly what the original Constitution said. He never overstepped his boundaries, and he knew his place as president. Another thing that Teddy Roosevelt did was the bully pulpit. And what that was he was able to bully people into thinking that what he was saying was right and was constitutional, and it manipulated a lot of people. If we think of the president, the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judiciary branch as a table, it's got 4 legs. If one is too powerful, it becomes unsteady. And where we are in this day and time, the president's branch is too powerful. So it is unsteady. We don't have the original America that the Constitution wanted it to have. Why do we celebrate the first 100 days of the president? It all started with Franklin Roosevelt. He promised to do all these things in the first 100 days, and ever since then, it is expected that the president is supposed to pass a lot of bills and do a lot of things for our country in the first 100 days. I would love to hear a future president say, I'm just going to sit back and relax for the first 100 days, because we do not want a president just go ahead and do whatever he wants in the first 100 days like Joe Biden did. It is better if he sits back, enjoys his time, and figures out what's going to happen. His only purpose for being in office is to protect our freedom and property, as well as try to make our society better constitutionally. This is one of the many things I've learned this year, and I am so thankful that you guys sit here and listened. This concludes my speech. Thank you for being here.